Hey everyone, welcome back to Try It Talks, the podcast that helps you sound more natural in everyday English, one conversation at a time.
Hi everybody, I'm Lily.
And I'm Jack. Grab your coffee, your tea, or whatever you're sipping on, because today's episode is a fun one.
It really is. Yesterday we talked about how to order food at a restaurant without freezing up when the waiter asks a question you didn't expect.
Right, that whole still deciding thing.
Exactly. And today we're moving into something a little different but honestly just as useful. Making plans with friends, coworkers, or family, using 3 little words that cause a lot of confusion.
Could, would, and should.
Yes. These 3 modal verbs show up constantly when people are trying to arrange something, but a lot of learners either avoid them completely or mix them up.
I hear this a lot, actually. Students learn the grammar rule for each one separately. But then in real conversation, they freeze because they're not sure which one sounds natural in the moment.
Totally. Like, do you say we could meet on Friday or we should meet on Friday? They're both correct, but they honestly mean different things.
That's the tricky part. It's not just grammar, it's tone. Could sounds like an option. Should sounds like a suggestion, or even gentle pressure. And would often shows up when you're being polite or talking about hypothetical plans.
So today we're going to walk through all 3 with real situations you'll actually run into. So by the end of this episode, you'll be able to suggest plans, ask about plans, and respond to plans without hesitating.
And stick around until the end, because we've got a full practice conversation between 2 coworkers planning their weekend, using everything we cover today.
So let's not waste any more time. Let's start with the first one, could.
Okay, so could is probably the friendliest of the 3 when it comes to making plans. It sounds light, it sounds open, and it never sounds pushy.
Right, because could is about possibility, not obligation. You're just putting an idea out there.
Exactly. So imagine you want to suggest hanging out this weekend, but you don't want to sound too demanding. What would you say?
You'd say something like, we could grab lunch on Saturday if you're free.
Nice and easy. Notice how it doesn't force anything. It just offers the idea and leaves room for the other person to say yes or suggest something else.
Another common one is, could you make it on Sunday instead? That's a super natural way to check someone's schedule without sounding like you're interrogating them.
Interrogating them. But yeah, that's a great point. If you say, do you have time on Sunday? It sounds a bit flat. But could you make it on Sunday instead? Sounds warmer and more conversational.
There's also, I could come by around 6 if that works for you. This is great when you're proposing a time, but you're still flexible.
Let's break that phrase down a little. I could come by simply means it's possible for me to come. But by using could instead of will, you're keeping things soft, like you're checking rather than announcing.
Good point. And here's one more useful pattern. We could always reschedule if something comes up. This is perfect for taking the pressure off, especially with people you don't know that well yet.
I love that one. It shows flexibility right from the start, so nobody feels locked in.
Let's hear a quick example. Imagine you're texting a friend about plans.
Hey, we could meet at that new coffee place near the station if you're around this week.
See how natural that sounds? It's not a demand, it's an invitation.
And here's a reaction line you'll hear a lot in response. Oh, that could work. Let me check my schedule and get back to you.
That's such a common, casual reply. Notice it's not a firm yes or no. It's an open response that keeps the conversation moving.
So to sum up could for plans, it's your go-to word when you want to suggest something without pressure. Ask about someone's availability politely. Or leave room for change.
It's the word of flexibility. Keep it in your back pocket for almost any planning conversation.
Now let's move to word number 2, which shifts the tone just a little bit. Would.
So would is interesting because it often shows up when you're being extra polite, or when you're talking about a plan that isn't fully real yet, more like a preference or a hypothetical.
Right, and one of the most common uses is a simple invitation. Would you like to grab dinner this week?
That phrase is everywhere. Would you like to is basically the polite big sibling of do you want to. It sounds more considerate, especially with someone you don't know super well, like a new coworker or someone you just met.
Exactly. Compare do you want to come to the party with would you like to come to the party. The second one just feels a little more thoughtful.
There's also would Saturday work for you? This is a great question when you're proposing a specific day and checking if it fits their schedule.
And notice the structure there. Would plus the day, plus work for you. You can swap the day easily. Would Friday evening work for you? Would next week work for you? It's a really flexible pattern.
Another useful one is I'd rather meet earlier if that's okay. Here, would rather is showing a preference between two options, even if the other option was never directly said out loud.
Right, it's implied. If you say I'd rather meet earlier, it usually means someone suggested a later time, and you're gently proposing something different.
And one more common phrase. I wouldn't mind trying that new place downtown. This is a soft, low-pressure way to express interest in something without demanding it.
That's such a relaxed-sounding phrase, and it's used everywhere. I wouldn't mind basically means I'd be happy with that, but softer.
Let's do an example together. Picture two friends texting about the weekend.
Would you be free Sunday afternoon? I wouldn't mind checking out that farmer's market.
And a natural reply might be, Sunday would actually work perfectly for me.
See how it keeps bouncing back and forth there? It keeps the whole exchange sounding gentle and easy, never forceful.
Before we move to the last word, let's take a short break. If you're enjoying today's episode, hit that like button. It genuinely helps more learners find this podcast.
And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. We put out a new episode covering real everyday English every single day, so there's always something new to practice with.
We'd also love to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell us which one of these words, could, would, or should, do you personally find the hardest to use naturally?
Seriously, we read every comment, and it helps us pick topics for future episodes too.
All right. Quick break's over. Let's move on to our final word, should.
Okay, should is a bit different from the other two, because it carries a sense of recommendation, or sometimes gentle expectation.
Right? When you use should, you're not just offering an idea, you're actually suggesting that something is a good plan, or maybe even the sensible one.
A common example is, we should probably decide on a time soon. This shows a bit of urgency, like you're gently pushing the plan forward.
Exactly. And notice that word probably softens it a little. Without probably, it can sound a bit stronger, almost like an instruction.
Good catch. There's a real difference between we should decide now and we should probably decide soon. The second one feels more like a friendly nudge.
Another common phrase is, you should come. It'll be fun. This is a warm, encouraging way to invite someone, almost like you're convincing them a little.
I use that one constantly. It's not pushy, it's more like enthusiasm. You're telling them why the plan is worth joining.
There's also, should we say 7 o'clock then? This is a great way to confirm a plan and move towards something final.
Right, and that question form is really useful. It sounds like you're wrapping up the planning and locking in a detail, but it still leaves room for the other person to adjust it.
One more pattern, we shouldn't leave it too late to book. tickets sell out fast. Here should combines with not to give a gentle warning inside the planning process.
That's such a natural thing to say when plans involve something time-sensitive, like tickets, reservations, or deadlines.
Now, before we head to our practice conversation, let's take a moment to upgrade a few of today's expressions so they stick in your memory.
Perfect. Let's smooth these out. Instead of just saying we could meet, try upgrading it to we could always grab a bite if you're around. It sounds more natural and specific.
Instead of the plain would you like to, try would you be up for grabbing dinner sometime this week? Up for adds a really casual, native touch.
Instead of just we should decide, upgrade it to we should probably lock in a time before the weekend gets busy. That's much more natural sounding.
And instead of I wouldn't mind, you can say honestly, I wouldn't mind checking that place out. It's been on my list forever. Adding that little extra detail makes it sound way more real.
One more. Swap, should we say 7? For should we just say 7 and call it settled? That phrase, call it settled, is a great native expression for finalizing plans.
And finally, we shouldn't leave it too late becomes we really shouldn't wait too long. These things fill up fast. Small upgrades. Big difference in how natural you sound.
Great. So now you've got could, would, and should, plus some upgraded natural versions of each. Let's put all of it together in a real conversation.
Time for our practice dialogue.
All right, picture this. It's Monday morning, and 2 coworkers, Sam and Anna, are catching up by the coffee machine before their shift starts.
I'll be Anna.
And I'll be Sam. Here we go.
Morning. Hey, a few of us were talking about grabbing dinner this week. Would you be up for joining?
Oh, that could work. What day were you thinking?
We haven't locked anything in yet, but we should probably decide soon before everyone's calendar fills up.
True. Would Thursday work for you? I'm pretty free that evening.
Thursday would actually be perfect for me. I wouldn't mind trying that new Italian place near the office, if people are into it.
Oh, I've heard good things about that place. We could always check it out and see if it lives up to the hype.
Should we just say 7 o'clock and call it settled?
Sounds good to me. I'll let the others know. We shouldn't wait too long to book anyway. That place gets busy fast on weeknights.
Perfect. I'll send a message in the group chat so nobody forgets.
Sounds like a plan. See you Thursday then.
And that's a wrap on our little dinner planning scene.
Notice how naturally all 3 words work together in that short exchange. Sam and Anna suggested ideas with could, checked preferences politely with would, and nudged the plan forward with should, without it ever sounding forced or robotic.
That's really the goal here. These words aren't just grammar rules, they're tools for sounding warm, flexible, and confident when you're arranging things with real people.
So here's your homework, if you want to try it. Next time you're texting a friend about weekend plans, try using at least one of today's phrases. See how natural it feels.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please hit that like button, and if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss tomorrow's episode.
And drop a comment below telling us about a plan you're making this week. Try using could, would, or should in your comment. We'd genuinely love to see it.
Speaking of tomorrow, we've got a great one coming up. We'll be covering how to politely disagree in English without sounding rude or too blunt.
That one's going to be a good one, so make sure you're subscribed so it shows up right in your feed.
All right, that's it for today's episode. Thanks so much for hanging out with us.
Keep practicing, keep making plans, and we'll see you next time. A and bye from Try It Talks.